If you're an e-commerce brand and you see your competitors absolutely smashing it with email marketing, they're generating crazy revenues, and you don't really have a big enough list to see the same thing, maybe you're wondering, should we just buy an email database? Why don't we just do that? And then we can start getting those revenues the same as our competitors. I'm going to give you the really short answer to whether or not you should do this, and it's no. You might think that it's a shortcut, that you can just buy that data, have a big list, start contacting them, and then before long, you'll be making 30% of your revenue each month from email. It's just not the same. You're comparing apples to oranges here. So I'm going to explain exactly why it's a bad idea and then what you can do instead to grow your list quickly. All right, so if you're thinking of buying that list, you might think that if I have more contacts, I'll have more reach and therefore more revenue, and you couldn't be more wrong. So there's many different reasons as to why this is a bad idea. The first is that you're basically cold contacting people. So when you've got people on your email list, let's say you've got 1,000 people, and maybe you're seeing a semi-decent return from that. The thing is, those people who are on your list are warm customers or warm subscribers. They came to you, they were interested in your brand, and they volunteered themselves to be added to your email list. So they did that willingly, and that's the reason why they are performing well, perhaps. But if you go and buy a list of 10,000 people, add them in, it's not going to be the same because those people are essentially cold contacts. They don't know who you are. They never signed up to receive your emails, and they don't really care about your brand for the most part. So when you email them, you're literally like a stranger popping up out of nowhere. Now, you're in e-commerce, and so the chances are you've been hit with a million emails per day from people like me or other agencies or different services. I get emails all the time, cold contact emails. I get people trying to sell me internet, trying to sell me electric, trying to sell me chairs, furniture, all sorts of stuff that I don't care about, and it goes straight into my spam folder. A good analogy is like showing up to somebody else's dinner table and then trying to sell them dessert. You weren't invited, nobody knows who you are, you don't really know what they like, and now everybody just feels a bit uncomfortable. That's what you're doing when you cold contact people. So that's the most important reason for me, is that the people you're adding don't know who you are, and they probably don't care about your business either. Even if the place you're buying the data from says that they're super interested in your specific niche or your business or whatever, just don't do it. They're not going to be interested. They don't like the fact that you're cold contacting them, and they will not buy from you. The next reason why this is a bad idea is for the deliverability implications. So deliverability isn't visible until it's too late. So the impact that it has on your deliverability, your emails, as soon as you start sending to these people, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a massive wave of unsubscribes and people who mark you as spam because they don't know who you are and they didn't ask to be contacted about your brand. So your unsubscribe rates go up, your spam rates go up, and your open rates, click rates, naturally, they both go down as well because people don't know, again, who it is that's contacting them. They don't know why on earth they should be clicking it. They will most likely think that you're just some scam emailer who's trying to get their details from like a phishing scam or something like that. But the worst part of all of this is not that your open rates and click rates and unsubscribe and whatever will spiral out of control. The impact on those cold contacts doesn't really matter that much. The bigger impact is what you're going to see on your warm subscribers. So as you start to get more unsubscribes, more spam rates, lower open rates, then inbox providers are going to start seeing you as a scam or spam sender. That is going to impact your ability to then contact your warm subscribers. So anybody who has been on your list for months, maybe years, they're no longer going to see your emails. They're going to go into the spam folder or into the promotions tab in Gmail, because inbox providers like Gmail and Outlook start to see all of these unsubscribe rates and spam rates going up, and they just think that you're a spam sender. So they're going to put you into spam. And this impact is exponential. So it's not just something that happens to the cold contacts and then your warm subscribers. It also starts to happen to your flows as well. So then anybody who is a legitimate, interested customer who comes to your website, signs up to your email list, your welcome flow is going to go straight to spam. So it really is not worth the negative impact on your deliverability. On top of that, if you're using Klaviyo and you import 10,000 people who don't really care about your brand into your Klaviyo account, not only is your deliverability going to tank, but also your Klaviyo bill is going to skyrocket. So we all know how expensive Klaviyo can get. If you start adding tens and thousands of people into your Klaviyo account, then your bill is just going to jump right up and you're not going to see the revenue return. So it's really a bad idea. I want you to think about your own inbox for a second. So check your spam folder or maybe even your inbox if you've got that many people contacting you. But think about all those emails that you probably get already from companies who are trying to sell you things completely cold. They've bought your data somewhere and they're just contacting you out of the blue, trying to get a bite, trying to get a nibble. They're just throwing the fishing rod in the pool and hoping that something comes up. It's the same thing that you will be doing here for your potential customers. Well, subscribers, whatever. And so think about how you feel with that, and think about, do you actually trust that person who sent you that email? We both know that in 2025, trust has never been more important in e-commerce. You've got people who are drop shipping crap from China that just is terrible quality, or you've got some people who are no shipping, or you've just got some brands who are ripping off other competitors or doing all sorts of dodgy stuff. And so you know for a fact that in order to get somebody to buy your product for the first time, is you have to really demonstrate some kind of value proposition and also demonstrate that you are trustworthy to do so. This is the exact antithesis of trust. When you're buying databases and you're contacting people completely cold, people don't want to hear from you. They don't appreciate it. And it just creates this kind of psychological frame of resistance, I guess. So like people don't trust people who they don't know instantly. And if you contact them out of the blue, they're not going to trust you, and it's going to really diminish the value of your brand. And the last thing I'm going to feature as to why you shouldn't do this is, of course, the legal risks. So if you're buying a B2B database online and then contacting B2B subscribers, then technically that is legal, but doing it for B2C is completely illegal. You're absolutely not allowed to do that. So under GDPR, under CAN-SPAM, things like that, it's illegal to contact those people without their consent. All right, so with all that said, what can you actually do then? What are your options here? We know the reasons why you can't buy a database, but you need to grow your list. So how can you do that? The truth is that you shouldn't be just looking at the quantity of emails, but mainly the quality. I've seen so many companies who have done legitimate giveaways, for example, where they've partnered with other companies or they've ran a random cold giveaway on Facebook, and then they've got tens of thousands of subscribers coming into their Klaviyo account. But then the problem is kind of similar. You're kind of buying that database, or you're bribing them, let's say. And the people who tend to sign up just want to get something for free. So we tried that a few times with a few different companies. It hasn't really worked in terms of the ROI. It's not really there, to be honest. So you don't need more emails, you just need better ones. So this is how you can do that. The first thing that you want to focus on is driving qualified traffic. So this is where you need to get your ads dialed in. You need to be finding your ideal customer on social media or any of these other new channels that are popping up. I don't know, I've heard like Taboola is good for some companies, or app loving or things like that. I don't know. I'm not an acquisition guy, but you want to look into these different channels and different ways of getting people into your list. So you need to figure out, where do you have your audience? Where are you driving traffic that's cost effective and the people who are most likely to buy into your brand, not just subscribe and be interested, but actually buy from you. Once you've got that sorted, you want to optimize your sign-up forms. I've just done a video on this, so I'll put it somewhere around this video or in the description. And that video is going to teach you how you can make sure that you're getting the most value from the traffic that you're driving to your site. So if you're driving 10,000 visitors and you're converting 1%, I mean, you're getting 100 people per month, but it's quite a low opt-in rate. So you want to at least double that, maybe triple, maybe even quintuple that, get it up to 5%. And then that's an additional 400 people joining your list each month. So don't sleep on your sign-up forms. They really do make a difference. Even tiny little optimizations, like creating a mobile version and a desktop version, can get you, it can double your sign-up rate for something just as stupid as that. So check out that video. That will tell you everything you need to know on how to optimize your forms and get more people who actually join your list from the traffic that you drive to your website. So you've got the traffic to your site. You're capturing as much data as you possibly can. The third thing to do is inside of your emails, and that is to nurture with purpose. So when somebody joins your list, you want to give them the discount you want to, or whatever offer that you've got available. If you do have an offer, then great. If you don't, then also fine. But you don't just want to do those offers and discounts and buy type stuff. You want to actively build trust with education, with social proof, storytelling, those types of things that make people buy into your brand and not just buy into the offer that you've got. So your welcome flow should feel like onboarding and not a sales pitch. You want them to buy into your story, buy into your brand values, so that they become like a cult follower of your brand. So a quick real life example for you then. We worked with a client in the outdoor games niche a few years back, and they had a massive list. I think it was like 250,000 people, maybe 300, I forget now. But they had done a lot of giveaway type situations, or they call them sweepstakes, I think. And what that means is they partner with other companies and they kind of exchange lists where people will sign up on their own accord, and they will they sign up to win some kind of giveaway, some kind of like bundle, for example, of outdoor games. So they got a lot of people who were coming in from other businesses that just really wanted free stuff. They weren't really interested in purchasing. So whilst it looked great, they were getting 30, 40,000 subscribers every time they did this. They were just running up their Klaviyo bill and they weren't really seeing a return on the investment from getting those people into their Klaviyo account. So the problem with this was twofold. The first was that eventually people became unengaged. So you had like 20, 30% of people who weren't opening or clicking the emails in 90 days. So those people are unengaged. They're not making any difference to the revenue that you're generating from email. And so we just removed those straight away, and that instantly brought the bill down. The second thing to do was to identify the people who've been on the list for more than 12 months and they haven't placed any orders. So by that time, it was the end of Black Friday, and we were doing the biggest discount of the year because it's Black Friday. And so we said, we'll have a hard cutoff at the end of this month where we say, if those people haven't purchased, the ones who still haven't purchased, we're going to have to get rid of them because for whatever reason, they're on the list. They might be opening, they might be clicking, but they've been on there for a year and they've still not made an order. And so they might have a different email that they've ordered. They might just be, I don't know what they're doing, but for whatever reason, they weren't ordering and they were running up that bill, so we had to get rid of them. If you want to keep some subscribers, then what you can do is you can identify the people who are clicking and visiting your website frequently and then decide, do you want to keep that segment? It might be quite small, maybe a few thousand in the grand scheme, and so it's not really going to make that much of a difference to your bill. So you can consider keeping those people because they might be wanting to buy, but for the most part, those people who've been on your list for that long and still not ordered, you probably want to get rid of them, but judge every case individually, of course. So once we'd got rid of those people, the priority then was to make sure that the sign-up forms are dialed in. So we're split testing the sign-up form, making sure that we're constantly increasing that sign-up rate, because ultimately the people who join via that form are not from giveaways or from buying databases or from wherever. The people who join via your website and opt in of their own accord are the ones who are most interested in your brand. So we put the optimizations in place, the ones that I shared in the other video that I mentioned earlier, and then their sign-up rate started to increase. So from that point, they can increase their traffic, get their ads dialed in, and then it just becomes this kind of positive feedback loop where you get more traffic and then more people join your list who actually want to become customers and not just dead weight who run up your bills. Okay, so wrapping everything up then, what are the common mistakes that you should avoid? The first is uploading any kind of cold contact to your Klaviyo account. If you've got these people's emails from some kind of event where they've written down on a piece of paper or they've opted in from your customer support team, then fine. But if those people don't know who you are, they don't know why you've contacted them, don't do it. The second thing is chasing list size instead of engagement. So you're looking for quality here over quantity. Don't try and run up your amount of people you've got on your list because your Klaviyo bill goes up with it. So instead, focus on getting quality subscribers who actually want to hear from you, who actually want to buy into your email, and that's where you're going to start to see a good return from it. The third thing is prioritizing short-term reach over long-term trust. So as I mentioned earlier, trust is everything in e-commerce, whether you're agency or e-commerce brand. And so you need to demonstrate that you're trustworthy. So don't add people if they're not interested. Don't over-contact people. If you see people who are unengaged, just get rid of them from your list as well. Give them a chance, of course, but ultimately you want to focus on how you can be a brand that's going to be here in 5 years and not a brand that's profitable in 5 months. Besides that, if you've got some deliverability issues that you've been experiencing since you bought a list or just in general, because deliverability can be quite slippery sometimes, then there is a guide in the description. If you sign up to my email list, you'll get the guide for free that will teach you how to optimize your deliverability score and just keep it protected year round. So thank you for watching. Check that out if you're interested, and I'll see you in the next one.